All right. So, welcome everyone to episode 8 of our powerful, insightful, always educational versus series. Today's topic is compromise versus happiness. You won't hear this from anyone else except from yours truly. That one should never compromise in a relationship. You heard me right. It's all or nothing. That's what true love is. All or nothing. Keep that in mind. When people go out there saying unconditional love, I know what your intent is. However, that phrase does far more harm than good. Because what you're really trying to say is love me for who I am and for what I promise to be in order for us to be happy together. But when you say unconditional love, it's promoting more laziness than anything else. And you need to stop saying that. I highly encourage you. Because unconditional is the opposite of true love. True love requires tons of conditions to be met, which we'll go over. That's the reason why I chose to do this show, this episode, right here. Because it just gets so pathetic when people keep saying unconditional love, not realizing the detrimental effects that entails. So, allow me to explain this time. And you won't hear this from anybody else. Because apparently nobody really thinks about this. I do write about this in my book. So take heed. Love is 100% conditional. Your partner must not be a criminal. Imagine that. A criminal comes up to you and says, hey, you got to love me unconditionally. You have to accept me as a criminal. I might be a R. You know what that means, right? Or an arsonist or a murderer or whatever the heck it is. I steal things. That means without condition. No, you said you'd love me just the way I am. That's unconditional love. You better just accept me. No, obviously, either you change or you run away. Because the last thing you need in your life is somebody with a heavy criminal record. I think that's kind of unwise. You know, you can forgive some people for certain crimes, but let's say he's somebody who commits R's, if you're smart enough to know what that means. I'm pretty sure you can get that. I'm not allowed to say it on YouTube. Against women. Sexual violence, if you will. Is that the ideal candidate for a lifelong partner? Is it? It's unconditional, right? You said without conditions. So be very careful when you use this horrible phrase, unconditional love. I highly recommend that you ditch it, that you throw it away in the garbage bin. Because this is precisely the reason why we have failed relationships out there. It's a huge cause, and I'll explain why. So they must not be a criminal, right? That's condition number 1, at least. There's so many others. They must be loving, caring, respectful, giving, strong, mentally and emotionally stable, willing to devote their entire life to a happy relationship. These are all conditions. Imagine if you just accept people the way they are, and they're lazy, they're dishonorable, they're liars, and you don't even know about these things yet. Those are horrible conditions, aren't they? But you said unconditional. So be very careful how you phrase your words about somebody. Unconditional love should be thrown away in the garbage bin. Enough is enough. It's time to evolve, people. That phrase does more harm than good. Let's take a look at it. The word compromise, because this is all based on conditions. Compromise, an agreement or settlement of a dispute. Already, it's a bad idea. If you're disputing in a relationship, that's not a healthy relationship. Now, disputes might happen in the beginning, in the synchronization process, but you guys should be eliminating those disputes very intelligently, mind you, in a wise fashion. Because it's either dispute and break up, or fix those disputes without compromising anything that you both desire. There's always a solution that works for you both. That is reached by each side making concessions, sacrifices, trade-offs, a happy medium. No. There is no compromising. And it's sad because I grew up listening to this stuff as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, even up to this day. People saying relationships are all about compromise. No, they're not. Because now you're not getting anything of what you truly want. And I'll go over that. Since we are talking about spending your entire life with someone, there's absolutely no room for compromise. You must dedicate everything to your partner, as they should do the same. No excuses. An intermediate state between conflicting alternatives reached by mutual concession. So now you both are sacrificing what you once wanted, but now, well, she doesn't like this, well, he doesn't like that. That doesn't look good. Maybe you guys are not a good match. Sexual incompatibility, that's a major one. If you're compromising in the bedroom, that's a no-go. Unless you want to live a life of misery, which we'll get into. The expedient acceptance of standards that are lower than... You see this? Lowered expectations, lower standards that are lower than is desirable. Sexism should be tackled without compromise. Okay, how come sexism should be tackled without compromise, yet your relationship is full of compromise? Makes no sense. Your relationship should be above anything else. Anything and everything. No compromise. It's in my book, okay? Let's go ahead and proceed here. Plan or task that has been thwarted. This is the second definition. There are two definitions of the word compromise. One is about sacrificing something in order to make something work, an agreement. Here's the other version. Compromising your relationship by compromising your needs. That's right. You want to stay away from this word compromise. And staying away from the word means staying away from the action itself and the thought itself. No retreat, no surrender. Full steam ahead. It's all or nothing in a relationship. And if you guys aren't prepared to take that leap of faith together, you're not ready to be together. Let alone forever. Forget about that word. It's not going to last. If you have all these differences, that's why I said yesterday with Destiny versus, in my versus series, the last one that I just did, you cannot have all these differences in the beginning because you have to be like-minded and like-spirited. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. That was my Heartbreak versus Destiny episode in this versus series. It's not going to work, people. And so opposites attract, garbage. No, because if you guys are opposite, you guys better work on that. Not to reach a middle ground, but to where both of your guys' needs are met. Understand? This is extremely important. Now, the naive people out there are going to disagree with everything that I'm saying here because they don't think about these things. And that's precisely why they're either failing currently with their relationships or they're destined to fail in the future. Or they don't even have a partner to love with their heart and soul. Those are the people who disagree with this. I'm asking you to ponder upon all of this. It's your mentality that's the problem if you're thinking like this. The unconditional and compromising mindset. No. And that's why love requires so much more than you could possibly imagine. Let's go ahead and take a look at this definition. The phrase mission has been compromised is correct and usable in written English. It can be used to describe a situation in which a plan or task has been thwarted. That means it's a failure. For example, we were unable to complete the mission as it had been compromised by the enemy. The word compromise can also mean to expose or make liable to danger, suspicion, or disrepute. Okay. So what's being conveyed here is the word failure, or you're giving up something that should not be given up. You never compromise your integrity, for example. You never go against your word. Always be honest, truthful, forthcoming. So you don't compromise your values. You don't give up anything. If it's positive, don't give it up. If it's something you strongly desire, don't give it up. Don't find a middle ground. It's all or nothing. Everything can and should be completed in a relationship. Whatever you desire. There is no honey, sorry, I'm not willing to do that. Then you're not a good match. End of story. Move on to another person. Because if love is supposed to move mountains and you guys can't even get over this ridiculous sacrificing this and that in order to be with each other, then you guys aren't willing to do everything else that's required later on down the road in order to become perfect soulmates. There's so much more, and you guys are already having problems with this little compromising game, this sacrificial game. Even having kids, don't have children and say, I sacrificed my life for you. Then you had kids for the wrong reason. And that's not love. You never loved your kids if you're saying that garbage. Don't ever say that to your children. I sacrificed so much. No, you chose to have children. And you're supposed to accept that and be the best parent you could possibly be. Don't put it on them. Don't blame it on the kids. Oh, because of you, I had to sacrifice this, and because of you. Wow, how disgusting is that? You brought a new creature into the world, a new human being, only to place the blame on them for your decisions, not taking responsibility for yourself. Actually regretting having children. There's a lot of parents who do this. Garbage parents who do that, as an example. So they're compromising their supposed love for their children, aren't they? So this covers the word compromise. So the two definitions. So compromising your relationship by compromising your needs, don't do it. Your needs can and should be met, both of you. Okay, so never compromise who you are. That's right. Never compromise what you want out of a lifelong relationship. It's your life. And if your partner truly loves you, then they will gladly synchronize themselves and master the art of mutual fulfillment. That's the fact. If they truly love you. Okay. A successful lifelong relationship does not involve sacrificing what you truly desire. As I said, everything is possible with the power of true love, making mutually agreed upon adjustments, not compromise, not compromising anything. No sacrifices. In a relationship is not compromising. Adjustments is not compromising. So learn to use that word instead. Get rid of the word compromise and insert the word adjustments, because that matches with the word synchronization, to synchronize. Just like a perfect watch or clock in the clockwork, the cogs of the wheels and everything moving in perfect synchronicity. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's take a look at the word compromise. I think this is the last one. A joint promise to abide by an arbiter's decision, to make a mutual promise with, together, to send forth, let go, foretell, assure beforehand, promise. Since a coming to terms, there we go, a settlement of differences by mutual concessions. Settlement itself, the meaning that which results from such an agreement. So no, this is like friends with benefits. That's where this will work. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do this to you, but I want you to do this to me. Oh, that's like a prostitute too. You pay the prostitute and say, I would like you to do this to me and this to me, but I'm not going to be doing this to you or that to you. That's a fake relationship. That's just using each other. Objectification. So that's why you need to get rid of this word compromise. Otherwise, it's not a serious relationship. Unconditional love. That's like prostitution and friends with benefits, if you ask me. Oh, it doesn't matter who you are, just pay me and let's get it on. Or friends with benefits, F-buddies. Oh, I don't care. As long as you just do this, I'm happy. And remember, we're not in a serious relationship. What the heck kind of relationship is that? It's pretty much gigolo and prostitute without money. That's what that is. All about compromise. All right. So, let's see. Everything's possible. Right. Adjustments. Get used to that word instead. I'm not happy, but I'm not unhappy about it. Oh my goodness. Here's a clear example of living in denial, lying to oneself. Saying that you're not happy means you are miserable and suffering inside. Of course you are unhappy about your lack of happiness. Wake up. Don't ever say this. This is horrible. This attitude right here is living in denial, living in misery. Notice, I am not happy. That's horrible. That's horrific. Your relationship's not working out. But I'm not unhappy about it. Of course you're unhappy about it because you're not happy. That's the very definition of unhappiness. You see how crazy these quotes can get? And this is like coming from the mindset of the most immature and ignorant people out there. Yes, they can even be famous. And people just blindly follow them. Because they don't know any better. And so they become misguided, just like unconditional love. They don't think any further into it. And so they become lazy, docile. They become weak-minded, weak-spirited. I don't have to change for the better. I don't have to make improvements because just love me the way I am. I don't have to do anything. Seriously? Wow. There wouldn't be professional athletes with that type of mindset. There wouldn't be entrepreneurs who are successful in the business industry with that type of mindset. We wouldn't win a war with that type of mindset, whatever the case is. Or cook a really great meal to eat with a mindset like that. I don't know. I'm just going to throw some sugar and salt in this dish, and you're supposed to just like it the way it is, because I'm not even going to try. Wow, unconditional cooking, huh? That's horrific. Truly horrific. So living in denial, people. Don't do it. That's perhaps the absolute worst thing one can do in a lifelong relationship, is to lie to yourself. Saying everything is fine when you know deep down inside that it isn't. You're too scared to get what you want and to make it happen. Too scared to talk to your partner. No, you just rather live in denial and go get drunk at a bar and just drown all your fears away, your misery away. Well, guess what? You're going to wake up with that hangover with the same fears and misery all over again. Because alcohol doesn't get rid of ignorance and weakness. No. It just makes a bad situation worse. So stop living in denial. Either your partner is willing or they're not willing to create happiness together. That means everything you desire and want, you have to be each other's fantasy in the bedroom. Whatever it is that you guys desire, you guys have to talk about it. Just like the song, Let's Talk About Sex, Baby. I mean, that's pretty much true. But you have to talk about your emotions, your thoughts, what you think about this and that, and make it work. One way or another, you're going to make it work without compromise. Otherwise, you're not compatible in any way, shape, or form. Not sexually, not mentally, not emotionally. You're not compatible. If you're not willing to please your partner and they're not willing to please you, it's not going to work. And you're going to be living in denial for the rest of your life in a lifelong relationship? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? That's like, going on a bus tour that's 5 hours, or a bus trip that's 5 hours long, and having to stand up the entire time and claiming, oh no, I'm fine. No, you're not. You got to sit down. I mean, what are you trying to... Are you trying to play G.I. Joe? You know that you're in pain from standing up. What? For 5 hours you're going to stand up. That's not logical. That's not healthy. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. Stop lying to yourself. You do have to sit down like the rest. It's a long trip. So imagine an entire life with your partner. Are you going to be living with all these compromises? No, she doesn't do this for me, but that's why I watch pornography, to compensate. That's something virtual. That's not going to get the job done in real life. Are you going to lower your expectations like that? Unfortunately, many men are too scared to speak to their partners about what they really desire sexually. That's why I promote pornography. Both of you should watch it together. You know why? Because it's educational. It can teach you something. Use it as a tool, not as a crutch for your unhappy, miserable status in your relationship. There's even something called sexless marriages. How horrible is that? People suffering in silence. In silence, people. It's like self-abuse. You're doing it to yourself. You're in a relationship that you're not even happy, and you're going to smile and lie straight through your teeth saying that you are happy. When you and everybody else, the whole world, can see it all over your face. No, you're not. You are unsatisfied. You're not living the dream. When you're living the dream is when your partner says, you know what, anything you want. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And you know what else they say? Oh my goodness, you do everything for me. There's nothing I can complain about. I don't even know what to think of anymore. You're my fantasy in the bedroom. You're so loving and caring. You take care of me. So you just care about me. You talk with me all the time. That's love, people. When you get, yes, you can have it all. You can have it all. And that's the way it should be. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself. Don't do it. You have to make it happen. But you know what? This is what happens, unfortunately. People want to live in denial, lying to themselves. Staying quiet, not telling your partner precisely what you want and what you need in order to be happy. It's a form of cowardice. Welcome to the world of being a coward. Congratulations. Not being completely honest with your partner. It means you are too weak for such a lifelong commitment. This is why people cheat, people. Because they turn into cowards. They're too scared to tell their partner. Or it's not working out. Their partner's like, oh, heck no, I'm not doing any of that. They don't love you. End of story. They do not love you. How come mothers and fathers can tell their children, you know what, honey, I love you no matter what? Yet when it comes to a relationship, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, I don't even want to hear about that. Well, honey, you're just going to have to put up with it. That's just the way I am. Unconditional. Wow. That's really sad and pathetic. That's just saying the most minimum. And then you wonder why people cheat. Now, some people just cheat because they're just bastards, ungrateful bastards. I'm talking about those who fall into this category slowly. They used to be a good person and then they turn into a coward. They talk a big game, but in the end, you know that they're miserable. It's a sad thing that happens. It could happen to the man or the woman in the relationship. It's very sad, but you know what? That's reality. Not everything is just flowers, unfortunately. It could be flowers. Imagine being responsible for your own misery just because you are too afraid to speak up and say what you want to say. You have to be open-minded. You have to speak your mind in a relationship. There's no beating around the bush here, people. That's called living in fear and wasting your partner's precious time, not just your time. Actually, wasting their life and your life. No courage means no happiness. That's the equation. There's your differential equation, if you want to get all mathematical about it. No courage equals no happiness. It's just as simple as that. You're doing it to yourself. You're just tying a weight around your ankles and being a slave to misery forever. So don't go blaming your partner about it. Now, if your partner is the problem, they're not willing, but they're able to satisfy your needs. And I'm not talking about sexual slavery here. I'm talking about you're open with your partner saying, this is what makes me happy. Maybe it's massaging my feet. Maybe it's a sexual activity. Maybe it's talking to me more often. Maybe it's saying thank you for the things that I do for you because I love feeling the feeling of gratitude. I mean, it's all about giving and receiving. So if one partner feels that they're not receiving what they should be receiving, and worst case scenario, they're actually giving more than receiving, now you're in an imbalance. You're not balanced. It's an unbalanced relationship, teeter-totter until it falls off the cliff. What happens with the boat in the sea? With the strong currents and strong waves, the storms, it has to stay afloat. It has to stay balanced. If a boat had compromising actions, then guess what? Oh, the rudder doesn't work. Well, we're just going to have to accept that. You'll never get to your destination. Oh, you know what? The bottom of the boat is flooding, and you know what? We're going to end up all drowning. The boat's going to go under like the Titanic. Oh, that's fine because you know what? I love this boat unconditionally. You see how ridiculous this is, people? Oh, you just have to accept the boat the way it is. No, you have to you have to check the boat for safety. You have to make repairs if necessary. You have to keep everything up to date. the latest and the greatest, and then a little bit of luck in order to make it to your destination in case of a horrific storm that comes along. And the relationships are no different. So if you guys can't meet each other's needs and desires, then you're not going to make it. End of story. Close the book. You're not going to make it. Maybe you guys can just be F buddies, like they say, friends with benefits. A failed relationship going nowhere. Perpetually, because you have to move on to the next sucker in line. And by the way, you're the sucker if you're doing it. No lifelong investment. That's right, people. Living in fear. Just because you're afraid to speak up and live a real, honest relationship. A powerful one. There are many keys in this life. Meaning a way forward. A solution. A complete understanding of what must be done. Honest communication is one. That's just one key. There are many more keys to unlocking every door leading to eternal happiness. Many keys. So, if one of those doesn't work with your partner, and vice versa, you got a problem. You have locked doors that need to be open, and you can't just break them open. That's forcing your partner to do this and that, or you feel like you're being forced to do this and that. You have to mutually agree to these things. That's where compromise goes out the window. And that's where desire takes over. How deep is your love? The Bee Gees sang about it. How deep is it? Are you only willing to go so far? Imagine if a bus engine or a car engine says, you know what, this is as far as I go. What are you talking about? I have to get to work. I have to go to the store. Your engine just stops on you. Sorry, this is as far as I go. You just have to love me the way I am. I look great. Oh yeah, you're a nice looking car, but you're not getting me to where I need to go. Your performance is lacking, obviously. What's wrong with you? I don't know. Take me to the mechanic and see if there's something wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with the car. It's just you didn't put enough gas in it. And guess what? Your partner has to do that. You can't do that for them. Do you guys have enough gas, both of you? Enough fuel to make it through a whole lifetime together? Do you or not? Are your keys connecting? Are they opening doors here? Because that's all part of the synchronization process when you guys first meet, attraction at first sight. You guys have to open all these doors together and see what your gustos really are and see how comfortable you are. You have to become masters of all of these keys. Because opening the door is just the first step. You have to become a master of whatever it is you're opening. So let's say you're opening the key to the bedroom. Well, you better become a sexual master. The way your partner loves to be pleased. Otherwise, you're sexually incompatible. Or manners. If your partner has horrible manners, well, then you can't live with someone like that, can you? Because it bothers you that much. You have to put all these keys on the table and work on synchronicity. Settle all your little differences, because in the name of love, is it worth it or not? Not sacrificing things. We're talking about eternal happiness here. That's what we're talking about. So many people, they don't even take their relationship serious. They seriously don't. They're just like, okay, let's move in together, honey. Let's have a kid, maybe, or let's have no kids. Let's just go to work and pay bills and this Netflix and chill. That's what you think a relationship is? Just like perpetual temporary satisfaction, if that. No, you're going to get bored of each other. And guess what? Then you're going to start insulting each other. You're going to grow tired of each other. Enter the world of cheating. You know, there's some idiots out there who actually promote cheating. They're like, oh, it's natural for a man to cheat. Oh, it's expected for a woman to cheat if this and that happens. No, it means that there's no love. The relationship is dead. End of story. I mean, how much do you guys want to lower the bar out there? Do you even know what happiness is? No, of course not. Not everybody out there, but a lot of people out there don't even know what happiness feels like. They don't even know what love feels like. Love is the key to happiness. You can't live alone without a soulmate and say that you're happy. No. You're temporarily satisfied because you don't expect the most magical, most powerful force in this world, which is true love. You don't even know what that is. So of course you don't care about it. Never had it, never care about it. Another crucial key to reach the gates of happiness is being a mature, intelligent, wise, responsible, honorable, courageous, fearless, relentless, devoted, non-compromising warrior. This is strength over weakness. Do you have these and much more? Because there's a lot more to that list. Do you or do you not possess these qualities? Value. What value do you bring to the table? Oh, I have a big paycheck because of the job that I have, and I have six-pack abs. That's not going to get you far. That's not going to get you that far. It's going to help. It's going to help. But that's not the point of a relationship. Looks and money, fame even, how famous you are. Unfortunately, people live life in the fast lane, the meaningless lane, the ignorant lane, and they find out the hard way. They chase after the money, they chase after the fame, or they chase after the looks. Well, she's hot, or he's hot. That's all I care. Yeah, that's a good start, attraction at first sight. But if that's what you think the whole relationship is going to be about, are you nuts? You're not going to make it. And even the memory, as great as it is going to be, it's not going to last. Even the memory won't last. And this is where people hop from one partner to the next, expecting to be happier. The grass is greener on this. No. Some people just want a different colored grass. It's like, what are you talking about? All of this is crabgrass in the first place. You don't even know what real grass is. I'm talking about a happy life full of love, real love. Not just because, oh, I love him because he has abs. He has a good bank account. Or I love her because she's hot. I like her voice. Yeah, that's about it. I'm a simple guy. Yeah, a simple guy destined to fail if you're going to get into a relationship with someone like that. You know, how deep is your love, people? Seriously, better write that stuff down. Do you even have these qualities and more? You know, this is exactly why the majority of lifelong relationships fail in the end. One or both partners never become mature human beings. That's all that unconditional garbage. They never master the mind nor their emotions. Simply aging does not guarantee personal growth. Okay? Maturity is not measured by age. It's an attitude built by experience. Absolutely. You'd be surprised how many elder people are so immature, so evil, so cruel, so stupid. They have nothing good to offer the younger generations as far as teaching them anything. And what a miserable, horrible example they set. And then that teaches the younger generations that money and fame is all that you should care about and having good looks. That's it. So we're stupefying, we're dumbing down the future generations, if not already being done or already done. It's a fast-paced world out there. You have to look deeper into what a relationship really means and what it really could be, what it should be. So if you have no passion, you have no future happiness. And it has to be mutual, both you and your partner. Just like a mirror. Looking into a mirror, you guys want the same things. And, you know, people make excuses all the time. Oh, well, we don't want the same things. No, if it's something positive and passionate and you guys can both agree that, oh, okay, well, that makes you happy, but to me, I can fulfill that for you, that need, that desire. As long as you say yes to everything that you both request, you'll be fine. But once the moment comes, well, I'm not sure, I don't know, well, whatever. No, you guys aren't going to make it. That boat is going to sink faster than you think. Oh boy. Maturity, maturity. So now here's perhaps the worst excuse that I still see to this day. Using the cheap excuse that one is simply unable to pay sufficient attention to something in order for them to accomplish a goal. Stop playing the victim if the shoe fits. This is a whole attention deficit disorder. Look, people, just like I said about PTSD. post-traumatic stress disorder. That means you can't even function. If you can flip on a camera and talk to the world without stuttering, uttering, or muttering, or losing focus, complete focus, you don't have a disorder. You're playing the victim. You're taken away from your own life. Your life experience that should be full of power, self-empowerment. Once you slap, if you have problems with paying attention, that's one thing that can be fixed. A deficit, if you wish to call it that, in paying attention. Work on it. But once you label it, you know what? It's just like unconditional love. Just accept me the way I am. I got a disorder, and I'm proud of it. Yeah, I'm a loser. I have a disorder. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to work on it. You just have to accept me with this disorder and multiple disorders. I've seen the most ignorant people out there. They're so proud to have multiple disorders. And when you look at them and listen to them, they don't even have these disorders. They claim to have them. It's the Munchausen syndrome. I went over that in one of my streams. In the abuse series. Munchausen syndrome. It's pretending to have a disorder when you know damn well that you don't. If you can function and look straight into a camera and speak to people on the other side without having them next to you, if you can speak to people and function, you can laugh at things, you can make fun of other people, because I've seen that happen too. Evil people online who make fun of other people constantly. It's not just once or twice, there's chronically. And then they ask people for money for their supposed disorder. They're lazy, they're overweight. You can tell that these are just lazy bastards. And then they claim to have a disorder as an excuse for their behavior. That's not a disorder. That's laziness. And that's the whole Munchausen syndrome problem. You're pretending. You're a pretender. You're an actor. Congratulations. They're living miserable lives offline and online. That's their problem. Now, people with actual disorders, they really don't remember what the heck you just taught them. That's attention deficit disorder. But you don't want to reach that point of a disorder. So why do I bring this up? Because it's the same as unconditional love. Well, just love me the way I am. I don't have to change for the better for nothing. No, that's not true love. That's somebody with an attitude problem. No willpower. And the same thing with all these disorders. You're playing the victim. If the shoe fits, recommend you change those pair of shoes. Those who continue to preach unconditional love are the lazy ones, as I just said. The ones living in denial. The ones playing the victim. They are the ones who will sabotage and ruin your opportunity to live happily ever after. That's right. If you're surrounded by these bozos who want to bring you down, who want you to act the same way they act. This is all negative, by the way. The victim mindset dilutes the human potential, as I just said. You're doing it to yourself by playing the victim. By not accepting personal responsibility for your circumstances, you greatly reduce your power to change them. End of story. So there's so many pretenders out there. Oh, I don't know. I have a horrible relationship because that's just the way it is. I'm just unfortunate. I can't do anything about it. Or, you know what, I have a disorder, so I can't function. You know what, I'm not even going to try to reverse it when it can be reversed. No, I'm just going to say I have a disorder and move on. No, you can't move on because you're playing the victim. Oh, my goodness. I mean, talk about lying to yourself. People with disorders, they can't even function. I see so many functioning people out there claiming to have disorders. They just want the attention. They want to be pitied. Because they're living a miserable life. End of story. That's just the end of it. The truth hurts, doesn't it? So, the danger of compromise. Reject compromise. Always choose happiness over giving up something that you just can't live without. If your partner truly loves you, there will be no need to sacrifice what makes you happy. That's what a perfect soulmate is. Understand that. Okay, so I hope now that you see how ridiculous it is to go around saying that love is unconditional when it's full of conditions, overflowing with conditions. Otherwise, you don't know what you want and you'll never be happy if you disagree. That's just plain and simple. I'll go ahead and see if there's any questions in the chat. If not, then closing remarks. Yeah, I think we're good to go. All right, awesome. So I'll give the example that I always provide everybody that I preach this to. When you plant a seed in a garden, a tree, it's going to become a tree, right? Well, it's not going to happen overnight, number one. You plant the seed and the right conditions must be met. In order for that seed to grow, it needs water, sunlight, a good healthy type of soil that has nutrition for the plant to grow, and no storms that are going to destroy it, etc., etc. Those are conditions that must be met. Not excess amount of sun, not excess amount of water, and not excess amount of wind, because these can destroy the plant in its youthful years. So in order to grow and become that great big old tree that maybe is 100 years old, a lot of conditions need to be met. And a relationship is no different. If you want to be perfect soulmates with somebody one day and work out all the kinks, all the differences in the beginning without compromise, learn how to make it work for the both of you, your partner will never cheat on you. They'll be loyal to the core, now and forever. There's no doubts, no fear, no arguments in the future. And you guys will reach a state of perfection if you follow everything that I mentioned in these streams to the letter, especially in my book and my movie. And with that, we're going to close this stream on compromise and all of its ridiculousness versus happiness, what you should be achieving one day. You'll know when you're happy because you can't stop talking about it. It's the greatest feeling on earth and in this life. So, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Look forward to the weekend fastly approaching. And much love to everybody listening and who actually takes all of what I say seriously. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much.